Hello, everyone. My name is Paul Crick from the Elevate Partnership, and I'm a co-host of the Pocket Dojō podcast.
And I'm Asha Singh from Learning Through Doing. I'm your other co-host.
Welcome to the Pocket Dojō podcast. This is a place where we'll be talking about how to turn the what of leadership into the how of leadership. So we'll be talking about the practices of how to make leadership more effective.
And how to make that practice accessible to others.
So in this podcast, we're going to be exploring how we can do this better. We'll be interviewing leaders, sharing their stories together with tools and techniques that you can take away at the end of each episode and hopefully apply into your practice.
So Paul and I met a little over a year ago at a leadership circle event in Germany. Actually, it feels like quite a lot longer, doesn't it, Paul?
It does, yes.
So Leadership Circle is a system of leadership practice that both Paul and I have become interested in along the way. And at this event, Paul ran a really interesting workshop where we had an exchange of what felt like masculine and feminine energy that got us really curious about what we might do with that exchange.
Yeah, in 2019, Forbes magazine reported that we spent a staggering $366 billion on leadership training of one kind or another, whether that was in business schools or inside organizations. And that just seemed like a huge amount of money and suggested, given the state of things as they are right now, there's a disconnect of some kind. So we teamed up to produce this podcast to see how we might do leadership differently.
We're also really excited to co-host our first renewal retreat for women who lead together at the fantastic Broughton Sanctuary in Yorkshire in the UK in April of next year. We feel really blessed to be able to invite a small cohort of senior women leaders who are passionate about reconnecting with, renewing and rediscovering their own personal power so that they are well equipped to transform whatever they see around them.
So we've just come back from being at Broughton together for the first time, and it was absolutely fantastic. It was very wet though, because Storm Babette had just hit the UK, and on the first day it was very wild, wet and windy, and we were soaked as we walked around filming various things, but we had a great time because on the second day things got better. And it was just fantastic to be up there because we met a whole host of wonderful people, and every time you spoke to them, they all articulated the same message. And it reminds me of a story when President Kennedy set up the first mission to the moon. The story goes that he visited NASA, and when he did so, he met one of the people in the area where the rockets were being built. And he said hello to this person, and this person was mopping the floor. And he asked him what he was doing. And he said, "I'm sending a man to the moon." And when we were at Broughton, it felt like that story. It felt that whoever you spoke to, they talked about renewing our connection with nature and restoring the land and the practices of looking after the land, including all of modernity, but also rewilding and moving back to some of the old practices so that we find our place in nature, which we seem to have lost for now. What was your experience of that, Asha?
That's a great story, Paul, about putting a man on the moon while you're cleaning the floor. I love that. I think for me, really, it was about the energy and the essence of the place. So I was just recovering from about flu, but I felt really energized by all the different spaces that we moved through, and there were quite a lot of them that we saw, in those 2 days that we were there. And I felt, it really felt also to me like all of those spaces had been designed intentionally for different purposes and were being used for those. And I just felt amazing kind of moving through all of those. And the second thing that I came away with, Paul, really was a sense of endless possibility. So much of the world is in dire need of regeneration today. But I came away with this real kind of felt sense in my body that Broughton was the start of all kinds of new things, not just the retreat, and that anything is possible. And that feels really important today.
So in the coming weeks, we're going to be talking about the topics of renewal and regeneration. And perhaps more importantly, we want to give people a taste of why we're doing this retreat and teach some of the things that we're going to be covering in each of the sessions on each of the days. The retreat itself is 3 days long. So I think most people would accept that renewal and regeneration are now firmly on certainly personal agendas and increasingly for organizations. So we think it's a timely topic. We think the venue is a fantastic place to begin to talk about it and share it and actually show it in action.
So please join us from Monday, the 13th of November at 9 a.m. GMT for our first 30-minute episode, where we'll be thinking about some of the challenges that women face as leaders today and how our work has helped them to address those. You can then find us every other Monday at the same time, always for 30 minutes, on your favourite podcast channel, including YouTube. We'll then also be writing at Substack about each episode. You can find Paul at the Pocket Dojō and myself at Learning Through Doing, as well as on social media. Thanks for watching. See you then.
See you soon. Bye for now.